Hello again, everyone. Mark Kelley here from KelleyDefense.com, bringing you another episode of the 30-minute mark, wherever you are. Thank you for making us part of your day. If this is the first time you've tuned in to the OTR universe, you're awesome and we appreciate it. Make sure you swing by warhog.com and KelleyDefense.com. Sign up for the newsletters and the website's membership pages, and engage in the community of those who are trying to become 1% better every single day. Rick is out of town this week for the holiday week. Hope everybody's having a great Monday. He will be back next week after the holiday. Hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving, and I am super thankful for all of you who tune in to the OTR universe and engage with all the content. Hope you're enjoying it. I'm going to talk about a few things today. We talked about on the last episode of On the Range podcast with Warhog Tactical and Kelley Defense, we talked about the media quite a bit. And we talked about how we felt, unquestionably to us anyway, that the campaign was heavily influenced and heavily utilizing social media, these digital platforms, these creators, Joe Rogan, folks on Twitter, Outkick, Sean Ryan, some of these big content creators, but not only those, some of the smaller ones. Of course, you have some that I'm going to highlight. I'm going to highlight one today who has 1 million, 2 million followers, but those who have 200, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 followers and below, those were a huge impact. Because in my opinion, mainstream media has a huge problem. And we've talked about this multiple times on Vantage Points, 30-second marks, the podcast that we've been on that other people host. We've talked about this quite a bit, and we've really covered it on the Range podcast. Media has a huge problem. Their credibility is in the tank. Their viewership's in the tank. We talked about that. MSNBC had a big uptick on election night, and I'm going to talk about that and why I think that is. But I'm also going to say right now that nobody's watching those. Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, I think she had 27,000 on the mainstream block with the mainstream demographic. That is terrible. That is absolutely a terrible number. So we're going to talk about that. A couple other things happened before we get into the media issue that I want to talk about. Last couple of days, big stories came out. Matt Gaetz pulled out of the running for the AG, pulled out, and he was pretty big news week this past weekend. Going to talk about a couple of those stories right now before we get into the story that I think is really funny, kind of ironic, but at the same time, very possible. I don't think it's just satire. But Matt Gaetz pulled out of the Attorney General running. I know he was picked as the appointee from President-elect Trump, and they're going to go with Pam Bundy, who I think is going to be a great pick as well. Now, I can't help but thinking, Matt Gaetz could be going back to Congress in Florida because they don't want to give up that seat. But there's some indication that he's not going back. So I don't know what he's going to do. But he's a very polarizing guy, very good at what he does, very good debater. So I think he'll be just fine. And I'm sure he'll do something either in the Trump administration and then go into media or both. But that was a big story. And then the other story was this media stuff with X. There's an announcement on there. Also, the judge in the New York City federal case, I guess it's not a federal case, the state case with the pending sentencing hearing. President Trump, him and his legal team had a huge victory where the state judge, Judge Juan Merchan, decided to indefinitely postpone all proceedings, with one exception. They're going to allow the Trump team to submit a request for dismissal, and there's going to be arguments on both sides of that. I really don't know what Alvin Braggs is thinking he's going to happen here. I just don't think there's any way that this is over. This is over. The Supreme Court's already spoken. The Supreme Court's already spoken. He cannot be held accountable at this time as the president. And probably a lot of that stuff is going to filter down to whatever they believe he did as at the moment. So it's a nothing burger. It wasn't a felony charge. It was framed into being a felony. It was basically a procedural violation that, occurs all the time. And I think what we're going to see is, regardless of what happens, even in the Eric Adams, with the way New York is acting and the way the governor in New York is acting, I think all that stuff's it's just all going to go away. I think even if he was convicted, that Trump would pardon Eric Adams. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. But the big news about that is that the judge that was supposed to render or hand down sentencing, he postponed that. And he also postponed what he's going to do about the Supreme Court ruling saying that Trump had a executive immunity. So we'll see what happens with that. But here's what I'm going to talk about. So again, mentioning before, some of these folks who are on the YouTube are just absolutely crushing it. And Benny Johnson, I don't know a whole lot about him, but he's on there. Something hilarious, because you all know how much I really enjoy talking about the media. It just fascinates me. Absolutely fascinates me in TV. It's really a real good snapshot of where we are and what we're thinking about. And sometimes it's not, but at the same time, it's a lot of fun to watch. So I know in the last episode we were talking about MSNBC, how I thought it was either going to go away or it was going to be sold. It's going to be sold. It's on the chopping block. Now I know we talked about the parent company. The parent company is NBC Universal, who's also that's all owned by Comcast. I know we're some confused about that, but MSNBC is owned by Comcast, who owns NBC Universal Media. And it's absolutely going to be sold. I think that straight up NBC wants to be separated from MSNBC. It is absolutely atrocious. It is terrible. It is no good. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but a big shout out to Twitter and to Elon Musk when one of his followers saw that MSNBC is in dire need of help. They just don't have the capital. They're not making any money. Rachel Maddow's already agreed to take a $5 million a year pay cut. $5 million, 20% of what she's making. And it's just going downhill. Nobody's watching. Those viewership dollars are going to be going. Nobody's going to advertise on it. The advertising dollars are just not going to be there. So they're going to have to cut all these big talents. Now, Rachel Maddow, she's good on TV. She's a pro. I mean, I don't agree with almost anything she says, but she's a pro. Anderson Cooper on CNN, same way. I mean, who's going to pay these salaries when nobody's watching? So it's going to be very interesting. But Elon Musk and one of his followers had to chime in, and Elon Musk responded. So let's listen to Benny Johnson. If you never heard about him, he does a really good job. So let's see what he's got to say.
Boy, Benny, there are certain historic writings that must be preserved and studied for all time based on their incredible value to Western civilization and to the human experience, like the Holy Scriptures, the Magna Carta, the Declaration of Independence, and this exchange on Twitter from 2017. Elon Musk, I love Twitter. Somebody named Dave Smith, you should buy it then. And Elon Musk saying, how much is it?
Isn't that funny? I love Twitter. You should buy it then. How much is it? They're acting like he's talking about a bicycle that he saw he's going to buy for his kid. You know, it's that casual of a conversation. He bought Twitter for $44 billion. Let's continue.
Maybe I should buy it. This was the moment where a individual planted the seed that would save Western civilization. Elon Musk buying Twitter is the reason why President Trump won in 2024, among many others. But imagine President Trump running for president without any ability to get his message out on social media. Elon Musk paying $44 billion for Twitter, now X, and freeing so many accounts that had been suffocated and stifled.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I'm going to let him continue, but he is on fire. Benny is on fire, but I'm going to let him continue because I think he's right. I think this is a pivotal point in American history for sure. I don't know about the world.
Under the tyranny of the regime to try and fix elections forever, the goal was to break democracy as we know it.
And what he's talking about there is by flooding the stream of information and then loading up these swing states with potential voters, i.e., by way of illegal immigration, and making it legal to vote.
Destroy the capacity for people to speak freely and think freely and vote freely. This is what Elon Musk saved. Elon Musk freeing the bird, as it were, freeing many accounts that we know, many of our friends, allowing for the free discourse, and declaring that we will fight. The freedom of speech isn't a suggestion; it's something we're going to physically fight over. Right? We're going to fight for the right to free speech. Man, that changed world history. So when Elon Musk says, "How much is this left-wing?"
He's 100% absolutely right. I totally agree with that. The fact that you can see the shift already I'd say before the election, about a year before the election. I think this has been a couple years now, but before the election, you could start seeing that people were not afraid. It wasn't so much to endorse Donald Trump for president. People were not afraid to say, after they had a free speech platform and they knew it wasn't going to be taken away because Elon Musk owned it, they were not afraid that they didn't support Kamala Harris. And that's a big turn. It doesn't necessarily mean they're supporting Donald Trump, but they don't have to toe the line and say things that don't go along with the Democratic Party for fear of being canceled. It's free speech.
Instrument of suppression and oppression and fake news. You should pay attention. Ladies and gentlemen, history may be repeating itself. Here we go. 2 years into MSNBC, 2 years since MSNBC predicted Elon Musk's Twitter was on the brink of collapse.
Oh, I forgot about this. That's right. Let's let him continue. Benny's on fire here.
Now this guy, Mehdi Hassan, he doesn't have a show anymore.
That's right.
Okay, his show's been kicked
canceled
off the air.
Yeah.
So he's been kicked off the air and completely deplatformed. This scumbag. It's like amazing how this all works. And Elon Musk saying, yeah, now MSNBC is going down. Well, that's an interesting thing to say. MSNBC is going down. What exactly does that mean? Well, MSNBC has been attacking Elon Musk. Maybe Elon Musk is just, barking at some of the people who really hate Elon Musk. Search MSNBC and Elon Musk. It's like Elon moved into my phone and now I have to leave Twitter. Republican senators say hell no to Elon Musk. Look, these are just some of the first hits. Like some of the first, Trump humiliates Elon Musk. Look at this from MSNBC.
He's right. He's right. They threw a incredible fit when he purchased Twitter. $44 billion. Now, Elon Musk is one of the great minds of our time, and he had to have known how important it was. Maybe many of us, I felt that it was very important to seize something that could be considered, open and honest and free. And I think Don Lemon's, after Elon Musk purchased Twitter, Don Lemon's interview of him is a good snapshot of what the left side of the aisle thinks. They're 100%. There's no such thing as moderation or smart. There's no such thing as moderation or monitoring speech or keeping your thumb on it. It's either free or it's not. Once you start going down that road, which has been that way by them just monopolizing the mainstream media, once you start going down that road, it just doesn't stop. It absolutely does not stop. And came to a pinnacle. And then I think the beginning of that swing where people started feeling good about not necessarily towing the line, not even going far as supporting the other candidate, but they felt comfortable with being free and being able to say what they wanted.
With Elon Musk on MSNBC. Ladies and gentlemen, MSNBC should be more interested in just preserving its own network, because MSNBC's ratings have been cut in half, some by 60%. Morning Joe's down by half. Joy Reid, Stephanie Rule's show, they're down by 60% in the ratings.
Wow.
We've covered this before on the program. The ratings have collapsed. Something like 35% of MSNBC's audience has migrated over to Fox. in order to just not be psyop. They are the Bud Light of MSNBC, of cable news networks. Okay, don't bet on MSNBC. And now Comcast is pulling the plug. Comcast, which owns MSNBC, is putting it up for sale. CNN announced massive layoffs. Now, this prompted Don Jr. to, an hour or two ago, say, hey, Elon Musk, I have the funniest idea ever. Okay? Donald Trump says. Donald Trump Jr. says. This, in turn, prompts Elon Musk to do how much cost?
So think about that. Think about that. This is exactly how 2 years ago this started. Musk asking, how much? How much is Twitter? Now he's asking, how much is MSNBC? Now, Comcast wanting to unload MSNBC doesn't surprise me. I think they want to separate MSNBC from the mothership of NBC because Comcast owns both of them. And NBC does not want to be pulled down. Does not want to be pulled down. Their news shows aren't any better. They're not getting any better. Now, I do know that CNN has done some stuff with social media. They have actually worked on improving their presence on digital YouTube. They had some really good numbers. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, on election night, their numbers they had millions of people vote. Okay, I got a theory on that. What I think, it was all the folks who voted for Donald Trump wanting to see MSNBC's reaction to them losing. That's what I think it was. Because immediately after that, like Benny said, went down to 60%. 60%. Their viewership is awful. It's just absolutely awful. So I could be wrong on that, but I don't know if this is satire. I don't know if they're just having fun on Twitter. But I can tell you right now, he's had serious thoughts about it. So we'll see what happens. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. Is this purchase going to go through? But I'm telling you right now, it's up for grabs. It's up for grabs, and it's not going to cost him $44 billion. It's going to cost a heck of a lot less. And don't think that Elon Musk, for the irony of it all, that alone is comical to him, and it would be worth it for him to do it just for that fact alone, that he's going to stick it to him because MSNBC has been on his back and Donald Trump's back for the last 10 years. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the show. Have a great Thanksgiving. Crew members, stand by for some more exclusive bonus content. Again, if you're listening to the audio show and you want to see the video show and see Benny getting after it, and he was hot today, I'm telling you, he is cooking. If you want to see what this show looks like, you got to go to the crew members. This is exclusive for the crew members and video, audio show. I hope you're enjoying it. If you have anything, like, follow, send us a comment, and interact with the page. Other than that, be safe. Have a great Thanksgiving weekend, and we'll see you on the range.